Yes, everyone, welcome back to the channel. How's it going? Good afternoon. It's Thursday, and it don't feel like a Thursday for today for whatever reason. How's everybody doing? We're going to talk about Kobie Mainoo and his potential return. There's some talk that he might be out until the next international, which is in October. And some talk that he might actually feature a little bit before then. Now, one thing I would say is it seems like we're not desperate for him to come into the side, and that's a good thing. It's a lot of pressure for a youngster for us to be like, we need him, and he's got to play, and that can lead to not having injuries fully heal. That can lead to all sorts of problems. And luckily, we don't need to do that with him, so we can allow him to rest. And I would rather we do allow him to rest and get back up to full speed and not risk it. He got strained knee ligaments in the preseason game in Houston against Real Madrid. He's been out a fair old time now. Hopefully he is building himself back to fitness and can get back in the mixer. Ahmad is also expected to be available again once we resume after the internationals. He's not participated in any team training just yet, unlike Ahmad. Unlike Mainoo, as he's continuing to go rehab for another knee injury, which sidelined him for more than 2 months. So he is expected to return after the internationals in October. United have got a nice little bit of run of games up to then as well, where we can really start putting some points on the board. And I think it'd be really good if United can not just start putting those points on the board, but put those points on the board and eliminate the pressure for these kids to come in on the other side of it. Because that's going to start leading to us having options. We've got players not only fit and able to play, but also fit and in good form when they're playing. So we could end up with ourselves having a midfield which has got Casemiro, has got Eriksen, Amrabat, Bruno, Mount, Hannibal, McTominay, Mainoo, Gore, and technically still Donny van der Beek, even though that dude's a fucking missing. So it starts to sort of look like we've got a team really sort of capable of piecing it together and having a little bit of strength in depth. So it should be there. David said, how's the hand? It's all right. McCullough's just tried to shake it, though, which fucking hurt. And I'm sweating a little bit at the moment because I've run out of painkillers. I've got some in my coat, but I've had to come live because I was live at 4, so I've not actually had a chance to go get one. Notch says match fitness is the one. I think match fitness is the one. Will Beam says filming with a potato. Must be something with the way it's being sent out because it looks absolutely fine on my end. Let me just double check what's going out on YouTube because from where I'm sat, it looks perfect. So let me just see what's going out for you lot. It looks okay on there, to be honest with you, as well. So unless it's just not quite having it, I don't know. But yeah, it should be all right. Looks like it's streaming at full speed, so don't know. Tahuian says, did I have a vid with Agbonlahor? No, I didn't have a vid with him. I was going to talk about him on today's video with Ash. Wes says, thought Donny looked good against Palace the other night. Knight says, suddenly we have depth, but no right winger or centre-half depth. Yeah. I mean, Ahmad coming back might give us a little bit of that. Your creepy uncle says, what would my midfield three be against City's team? That's a great question. Personally, what did Mourinho used to call it? He used to be tree something or other. Let me just see what he used to call it. I can't find it. At Real Madrid, he used to play 3 defensive midfielders in front of the defence to try and deal with what Barcelona would do when he was Real Madrid manager. It was called a try something. If anyone knows, it's probably Spanish, but I can't remember where it is. It's a 3 something or other. So if anyone can see, let me know, and and I'll read it out. But yeah, he had 3 defensive midfielders, or 3 sort of hard-working number 8s, and I think that would be what I'd go with rather than a number 10. I think I would go with that. IQ Insane says I'd play Mainoo in the Hannibal position. Problem solved. Barav says nothing like Steve's video during dinner time. Love from Bangalore, India. Cheers. Notch says at least we'll have some midfield depth. Yep, it's the upload speed. Right, there's not a lot I can do about that. I mean, we're supposed to be on fucking giga by internet here, but if it's not having it, then it's not having it, and there's not much I can do about that. I'm just checking the analytics, see if it's struggling in there. Rock says Mainoo is not fully fit. No, of course he's not. He's literally just coming back. We're talking about his return, not talking about him playing like right now. So, yeah, of course, it's going to take a minute or 2 for him to get back up to speed. Brian Casey there says, afternoon, the result performance on Tuesday against Palace gives me hope that we're going in the right direction. Full squad, and we might be right. Yep. Super chat there from the Giant says Martial to start on the weekend. Thanks, Steve. I'd still go with Højlund. He's been really impressive. Trivote, that's the one. Trivote was the midfield that Jose used to have. Let me just Google that. Where was it? Trying to see if it's got it anywhere, what it was. Can't actually find... Was this it? Was it Cadero, Alonso, and Lass? Could have been that. Ridwan says, I can see clear progression with Hannibal right now. That's good. Ankesh, Steve, talk about Agbanlaho's 6 touches in one game. So it was 8. It was 8, with 2 being from kickoff. But yeah, the point is legitimate. ZNA says, we've currently got 9 options in midfield. Considering the depth, we should start to control games more. What's my take? Well, we have that depth on paper. We've not had that depth in games match fit just yet. And match fit and knowing each other as well are massive. Glimmer there with a super chat. Thank you very much. Jevon says, love this kid. I just want us to take our time with him. He has great potential. I agree with that, and I think there's no need to rush with him at the moment. I think the right time you could do that. Knight says, does the academy need to invest in defensive prospects? Well, that sentence is a bit of a madness, isn't it? Does the academy need to invest in defensive prospects? Well, the academy shouldn't really be investing in players in that sense, in my opinion. The academy should maybe be developing more prospects. I mean, we've developed some of late, and they've not been given opportunities. You know, Mengi was the latest one that, you know, I'm disappointed we're not going to see go through. What academy did Ronaldo Brown play in? Liverpool. He was in the same team as Trent. It was literally the same squad Trent was in. I think there's a lot more we could be doing with our defensive players coming through. I think we could be better than we are doing. Ultimately, I think football on the whole could be better. There was a stat I saw the other day, which was how many players actually make it, and it's a sickeningly few amount. Like, you literally have better chances of finding that player by throwing a fucking sausage roll at someone walking down the high street and seeing who it is. Glimmer says, what do I think about Barcelona's corruption? 2 extra European Cups for United, surely. I don't think that's going to happen. First name, last name says, I think with the injury returns, we could equip for the season, bar a backup striker and a backup centre-back. Thoughts on swapping Sancho to Bayern for Tell? Tell? Who am I missing here? I think with what's happened in the last 48 hours or so with Osimhen, I would be more inclined to see if Sancho wants to brush up on his Italian and bring Osimhen in as some sort of a swap if there's something to be done over there. Doot says, how do I go about joining Paddock? If you want to join Paddock, then Thursday sessions, East Manchester Academy at 8 o'clock, are open sessions where trialists are invited to come down and watch. If you want to join as a coaching staff, or if you want to join as a member, that's different. Membership is open at the moment. I will get the links out there because they're not currently working on the website, but membership is open on a monthly and yearly basis. So if you want to come and join the club and have your say. We will be voting on some more stuff in the very near future, and there is an email hopefully going out tomorrow in regard to this season's kit. If you're interested in getting your hands on one of those, there will not be a massive run of kits due to shortages already, so we'll be trying to box that off. 2004 Honda Civic says, Dalot is amazing. He should be our main starter. I think he's a good player. I don't know about amazing. Thoughts on McTominay not getting first team football? Won't he consider leaving? I think on the basis, what do you mean not getting first team football? Like, hasn't he played like 3 out of the last 4? Started? Something like that. Honestly, I haven't watched him at the moment this season. I'm not interested at all, and I wouldn't be bothered if he moved on. He's been so poor this season that I would get rid. I really would. Mady says, we're seeing a bit of Ten Hag Ajax moves here and there. We just need consistency with a bit of trickery in the middle of the park. I think getting your players fit is a real big one, and I think if we get everybody fit, then I think you've got a chance. Lad says, I'd love to get De Ligt. You might be able to get him, because it's not really gone well for him since he was with Ten Hag last time, wasn't it? So I wonder, is that something that they could do? Abdul says, is Ten Hag sticking to his plan A to install a system first, since tweaking without a set system would be more chopping and changing? I mean, we've obviously seen in recent weeks a bit of a flip to a 4-2-2 diamond, 4-4-2 diamond. And I think the reasons for that was sort of to protect Casemiro a little bit. JR says, De Ligt is the Dutch Maguire. Yeah, I don't know about that. I agree to a certain extent that chopping and changing the system not beneficial when we're not quite fully formed with our plan A, but yeah, I think that's the move. 20 Legend says McTominay's been replaced. Amrabat will take his minutes. Yes, probably. Roman says, we need some nasty hard-working wingers and another centre-back. Yeah, and I could argue a backup forward, or at least a forward that's maybe going to do something different to Højlund, or a bit of an impact one. Ridwan says, Mount was impressive against Palace, don't you think? Quick passes remind me of those quick one-matter switch passes. Yeah, I think he was good against Palace. I liked the versatility in where he could play in different positions, and I think that that's where his strength is going to lie for United. I saw someone at the very top of the chat saying that they don't think Mount makes it into a first-choice United 11. The problem is, you can't just have 11 first-choice players because of injuries, because of suspensions, because of form, because of all sorts of issues. I think you need 15 or 16 what you would call first-choice players. And I think if you can get 15 or 16 first-choice players in the mix, I think you've got a shot, genuinely. I think less than that is problematic. But if you've got more or less that fit all the time, I think you'll do it, and you'll do it right, I think. Andy Long says, Vardy as a super sub? Probably not, really, at the age he is now. I mean, I think he'd probably just see out his career at Leicester, to be honest with you. JR says, will Mount start right wing at the weekend? I haven't done my preview yet. I'll be doing it in the morning, but my gut feeling is that's what I'd be sort of shaping up to do. Yep. Tufail says, I want Anthony, Sancho and Pellistri sold and instead get Michael Olise. Bold. Bjorn says, do I think Ten Hag should focus more on the strengths and traits of his players instead of rigidly sticking to his system? Does he lack flexibility? Should he be more pragmatic? Well, no. Ultimately, managers are going to be stubborn. They have to believe the thing that they're doing is the thing that's going to win games. They have to. They literally have to have that. I believe a good manager tapers his team to the opposition to a certain degree, but I also think that they have to have a very clear way and desire that they want their team to play as plan A. And I don't think it shows a lack of flexibility when you have a very clearly defined plan A way of playing. But I think you have to get them used to the way that you're asking them to play, and that sometimes can take a long fucking time. And because that can sometimes take a long fucking time, that can prevent you from being able to work on the other systems that you need to work on. Matt says, given our poor start to the season, should we bin off a few cups to concentrate on securing top 4? Fundamentally, no. I wouldn't have necessarily minded going out in the League Cup. I mean, obviously the way we played was great, but you can't. I never want to see United toss the FA Cup off. I never really want to see United toss it off in Europe. Like, realistically, are we going to win the Champions League this year? No, we're not, are we? Clearly. But I do believe we can finish top 4, but we're going to need to be good because there's going to be so many teams vying for that. I think Arsenal and City are a lock for finishing inside the top 4, but Tottenham look good, Liverpool look good, United, you would hope, can start to look good and get themselves in there, and then you've got Newcastle. So you're looking at 4 teams who need to finish inside those 2 places. Next year it's different, and you've got 5 that are going to qualify, but right now there's going to be 2 that qualify outside of City and Arsenal, so 4 that qualify, but 4 teams going for those 2 spots, so a couple are going to miss out on that, and I think that's the issue. Brian says, where do I see Mainoo fitting into the team when Casemiro, Amrabat, Bruno, Eriksen and Mount are all fully fit? Probably be on the bench. And that's not a bad thing, to be honest. As long as over the next 2 or 3 years, he can start to get more and more minutes, I think that's a perfectly fine place for him to be. Your creepy uncle says it's top 5 for Champions League now, isn't it? I think after this season, I think. Hasp says, my opinion on Onana so far, his positioning and tactics different from what they were during pre-season. They are a little bit, yeah, but I wonder how much of that is due to what he's had in front of him as a defensive partnership. But they are different, and I wonder, has he changed it because he needs to be a touch more defensive, or has United's goalkeeping coach changed it because he's not coming off his line as much, and that's a bit of a worry because I thought that was the main thing that we were getting with the guy. Frank says, is it insulting to chat in a language that even Google can't translate? Can't understand. This chat is for sharing ideas. I don't know what that's in reference to. Luke says, on the 20th of May, wish me a happy 24th birthday at a time I was feeling low. Since things have moved on a lot better, for me, it meant a lot. No problem, mate. Well done. Arcade with a super chat. It's the first ever super chat. No question, but thank you very much. Sancho plus cash for Chiesa. Right. On Chiesa, I did have a note about Chiesa. So Calcio Mercato are saying that United have identified Federico Chiesa as a target to replace Sancho, and United want to sign him as early as January. I like the idea of that. Chiesa was someone that I always just sign on Footy Manager. He was fucking great. And I think he'd be pretty good. So I can get behind that, to be honest. Prasad says the option Mainoo and Hannibal bring in are relentless pressing. What you might get out of those 2 is you might be able to play a certain way for 30 minutes and then you can bring them on for the last 30 just to close a game out, but close a game out with relentless pressing rather than closing a game out by sitting back. Like, you could give them 30 minutes to really fucking hammer a team, and then that's good squad management because then you're resting the players for the next week, and I like that one. I do like that one. Right, I'm going to wrap it up there. Nice, short and sweet one. My fucking hand is stinging, so I'm going to have to go and dip off and get some painkillers. But cheers, as always, for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe if you're new. We'll have another preview ahead of tomorrow's game, ahead of Saturday's game out tomorrow. So I'll see you in the next one. Laters.